Good evening, everybody. It's about to say good night. Welcome back to another video. It has been forever. Anyway, in this video, I am going to be teaching you guys how to make mallets. Ain't that exciting? So I have a total of 4, and yes, I've done all of these, but I did some of them right. So this is great. So these two are two that, well, this one is even done a little bit differently and I don't really like that. But we are going to be doing other ones right now. So for right now, so this is how it looks like. As you can see, there's wrapping, and it's not perfect still because this is, I just completed my first set, which is 4 mallets a set. And I just finished those and they look great. They all look the same. Happy. Hashtag proud. So this is what it looks like on the top. As you can see, the circle isn't perfect. And on the bottom, you can see some stitching along there. You can see some unevenness. So it's okay if it's not perfect. And this is probably this attempt I did just a couple hours ago. And this is probably like my 10th attempt. So it's going to take some time to get this perfect. And so my ultimate goal is to get all the percussionists, or at least a good majority of them, to know how to do this so that when I graduate next year, then you guys will be able to pass this down if we need to restring them in the future. So I don't want to be the only one knowing how to do this. So what you're going to need, so you're going to need, not this one, a mallet that you do not want to have anymore. Okay, that's first step. Second step is to get the yarn you want. So it can be any color you wish. Try not to get it be bright colors because I know Mr. McCray would not like that. So I got this pretty, I don't know, it's like a robin's egg blue. And it has to be 100% acrylic though, no cotton. That'd be bad. So you're also gonna need scissors. I actually like the tiny pointy ones because you can get in the crevices a lot better, which I will show you. And you're also gonna need this little fella. This little fella is crucial. And if you don't have it, you can't finish your mallet. So that's like so much fun, right? First things first, you're gonna take your scissors and you're gonna take your mallet. So where you wanna cut is right down here, because if you cut over but more by the head, you have the potential of cutting the rubber, which is not good. So all you're gonna do is take your scissors and cut it in between there. Since I just did these, it's a lot easier to just snip it off. I just realized my trash can is in the other room. So it's a lot easier to snip it off, but like when I first did it, I was working on mallets that we stopped using it was the beginning of my sophomore year. Okay. But they've been beaten to death. So all the string, probably the next time you guys be doing this, the string will probably be beaten in and all stiff. So just be careful, just be patient, don't take too much string at once. I'm gonna go grab my trash can and I'll be right back. Trash can is here. Also, because I know I've done this so many times and I've only done it on like, what, 4 mallets, like I've cut off all my first attempts and everything. Don't feel bad about wasting yarn because A, you have a lot of it, and B, it's a learning curve for you too. So, like, I'm even still learning stuff. So if anything, the yarn is teaching you how to do it all. So just keep going around like this. Now I've gotten it to look like this. It looks pretty funky. This is still attached right here, so all that I have to do is cut this, bada bing, then pull this off here, throw it away. Kind of self-explanatory. I haven't done the stuff up here yet, but all I gotta really do is get all this out of the way, and you can see right here the sewing, just cut that all off and it should slide right off once all that is off. I don't know where the rest of the stitching went, but you know what? It's fine. Bada bing, bada boom. Perfect. So now your head should look like this. You can continue to pull it all off. Stuff will fall off, but eventually you will find the base of the string, and you might think you found it like this is what I mean, but this could easily come off at any time, but this actually might be it, question mark. And from here, just pull it all off. It should come off in one piece. There will be no like millions of pieces, as you can see. And then eventually you will get down to your rubber, which in this case is green. And here she is. So this is what the inside of a vibraphone mallet looks like. The marimbas are slightly different, and you can just go ahead and throw that piece of string away because it is too short to be able to finish it. Take your string and you want to pinch it where it's longer than the shaft right here. So now that it's longer than my shaft, I'm pinching it up here. I'm going to wrap it 3 times around the base or underneath, right underneath the rubber. I usually do it with the tail end because my tail end is always longer than it needs to be. So I go around once, go around twice, go around 3 times. Now I let that hang. Now I take the other end, which is still attached to this because you don't know how much you need. You're gonna take your string, wrap it around the top so that it looks like this, straight across, and then you're going to twist it 90 degrees to make a crossing directly in the middle of your mallet. As you can see, now I have cut my rubber into 4ths. Then you're going to cross it again to make a little X pattern over the star. So it should look like this the 3rd time. And then again. So this is the most that I cut it. I mean, after this, it kind of gets shaky. So then after that, I cut every section in half again. So that it looks like this. And you can see a point starts to form, well, you can barely see it. Point starts to form at the very top. And so then from there, I go around cutting everything in half again, crossing over at the top until there's no more green showing. Also, big important thing too is that as you're going about this string down here is going to start twirling around. Just pull it out, and if you haven't pulled it out in a long time, then there might be a lot of loose string, I guess, underneath it that you won't be able to see. So if you just keep pulling and more is coming out, don't worry about it. You're not undoing what you already did. You're just pulling out what you may have trapped underneath there. Another important thing to keep in mind, okay, so if this happens, don't freak out. Just let it all go until the least tense part, I don't know, or until it tenses up again, I guess. Which brings me to my next point, what I was about to say. Make sure that you are keeping the string tight, because if it's too loose, then it will not be as effective. I mean, clearly. So if you just keep pulling on it gently, or I mean, tugging, you know, it will remain tight on the mallet and it will not fall off, which the last mallet I had actually had some string fall off, but I fixed it with the sewing. Actually, I think we might be solid. So now I finished part 1, which is covering the whole green, or the green on the inside. And yeah, looks pretty nice. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start wrapping in a diagonal pattern. At first I used to do it like 4 in a circle, but yeah, that was a little too big. So now I'm gonna go, instead of crossing in the center, you're gonna cross around the side. So this, I don't know if you can see that. This side is gonna be how big the circle is on top here, as you can see. So try to make it even, and it'll make more sense when we get to that step. But I just twirl it just a teeny tiny little bit and bring it up so that it's crossing over. It's crossing over each other at the top to make that circle. I don't know how, if a better way you can see this. If you're one of my kids, I can show you in person what it looks like if this step is confusing. Because as you can see on the top, I'm starting to, oh my gosh, this color, I swear. Wrap it around. As you can see, I'm starting to make a circle. Should be on that side. And then I'll show you it once I go around the entire thing first. And the important part is not to have it be diagonally going up. It's that you wrap it around to the spot where you want to come up, which would be the next part. And then it would naturally have that wrapping around. So the line should still be going up and down to the best of its ability. It's not like sideways across the mallet. So I'm almost done with my first circle. And then here we are. So I just completed it. As you can see, now we have the outline for a circle on top. And yeah, it's smaller than that one. I like to have it smaller rather than bigger. And it would probably open up too, based on the way that you do it, your technique. Because even too, when doing this, you're going to develop your own technique and way of doing it. And like me, I've figured this out after like 10 attempts. And my first attempt was and even to the different ways that you sew it, different preferences. You know, I can show you some different ways. But I like everything to maintain or be, you know, the same way. And even too, as I'm doing this, I am left-handed, so probably what you're doing would be twirling it around the other way. So maybe this video would be perfect to watch because it's opposite. But either way, it doesn't matter which direction you go so much. And anyway, just keep doing this until it's the same thickness. What was I saying? Oh, it doesn't matter which way you go as long as you're going the same direction the whole time. And so the way that I judge the width of it is by measuring it side by side like this, and I see, are they the same? So I think mine are about even. It doesn't look, you kind of have to ignore the top, and it's kind of distracting, just because you haven't sewn it yet. So it looks a teensy bit different when you do sew it. So now that I am done with this, I am going to, so you're done with the wrapping, congratulations. I am going to stick this last piece directly across the circle, as you can see, like so, directly across. And because that's the top, I'm gonna stick the meaty part of my palm right there so that this is not gonna move. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut the other string to be the same length as the other one. It's not even, but it's fine. And this is where some talent comes into play. You're gonna take the one that you're covering and you're going to hold it with the hand on top, pinch the edge and kind of force the end through, and there's like 4 or 5 strands of yarn that you need to get in there. I can show you how to do this later, or if you want to figure it out on your own, because sometimes I don't get all strands in there, and that's fine. I just kind of figure it out, you know. From here, now that you have your needle in here, just leave it hanging out, because if you tie a knot here to prevent it from slipping out, then it'll be too thick in some points to get it through. So now my finger is still on top. Now I know where I want to put my string, so I hold this tight to prevent other things from falling off. I stick it in right where it was, and I go across the middle. So as you can see, I've got the string held tight here. The needle is directly through there, and all I have to do is pull it through. So if you want, I was using bigger scissors earlier, so just use this or something to help push the needle through. Something hard, so you don't hurt your fingers. Maybe a thimble would work too, if you guys know what that is. Just keep pulling it through. It might take longer than others. So then here, because I don't have it tied, I grab onto both and pull until that tense part is over. So I have that there, bada bing, bada boom. And the important part about this is make sure that it doesn't come up on the wrapping here. It will probably come up on mine because I didn't go at it like a complete angle. So, and if so, it'll be fine. I can teach you guys how to do that. So now you can let go. It's not gonna fall off. So if you're running short on time, this step just needs to be done, because if you left it, everything would have fallen apart. So now we get to the fun stuff. You can do one of two things depending on what technique you like. So I initially did this. This is an unfinished mallet that I need to do. It's got, and this is where I pulled it through, or there's this where it just lays flat on a circle. And I think this is one of the ones where I did 4 in a rotation. So that's why the hole's a bit bigger. Now the problem is if you do this, you need to hold it really tight. So these are the 2. This is the one that I'm going to be teaching you. This one you would just need to pull it through. So I will show you it, but I'm not going to do it. So now the best way to do this is to go in, I don't want to say as close as the previous one, because it depends really on how your yarn works. And again, if you meet me in person, I can explain this better. So for this, I'm going to go in through the center and go around this piece right here. You see the round piece. And I'm going to stick it in and go underneath. I'm never going to go through a wrapping. I will always go through the thread. I'm always going to go in between some. So as you can see, there's a hole right here that I'm going to be going through. So I'm not going directly in the middle. I'm going straight through at an angle. And all that I'm doing is pulling the entire thing through so it has a loop. So I hold on to here. I don't pull by the needle. And so you can see, I just pull through. So now I have my first little loop right there. And again, because I'm left-handed, I'm going to be turning the stick this way. If I was right-handed, I'd probably go on the other side and do it this way and twirl it that way, if that made any sort of sense whatsoever. If not, just keep doing it how it's most comfortable for you and just ignore everything I'm saying. But it's just something I'm conscious about because this year I'm the only left-handed percussionist. So it's so much fun. So next thing, I'm going to go almost in the same hole, but at a different angle. And again, I'm going to the nearest hole. I'm not going through the string or the yarn and just pulling it through again. If I wanted to make the other design, I would put it through up here and tie it off so it would look like this and pull it through. because it gets you an effect on the top. The reason why I didn't like that though is because this design that I'm doing now lays more flat on the mallet and the other one pops up, and I just wasn't the vibe I was going for. So yeah, so make sure you're pulling really tight too, because this is what's preventing the string from falling off the mallet. And you just continue going around in a circle, trying to make the circle as even as you possibly can, and probably also as small as you can make it. So you probably have noticed that I kind of stick my finger in too every now and then, the hole, which I can demonstrate if you haven't picked up on. And it depends. I don't really know why. I think it's because the unraveling of the string or whatever. But I stick it in because I add tension and I make everything even, so that, because sometimes it'll puff up. And if I get that, I will show you. But just keep going around and round. And again, I think I mentioned this. Some people count how much they go around to make sure that they're even, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing to do. It's just, it's very tedious. You can lose count really easily. And especially in the beginning, the increments from space to space are not even. So, or they're never going to be the same. Sorry, my phone's at 10%. What's new? They're never going to be the same. So I always just kind of do it until necessary. And then I judge the size from there. And also, I'm sorry, I'm like bringing it down. It's resting on my leg right now, which is not where I traditionally do this. But yeah. And then I will come back to you. I'm going to finish this circle, and then I will come back once I'm done with it, show you how to end the top. Okay, perfect. I found an instance where it's puffing up. As you can see, I think it might just be getting caught in the rest of it. So that's why I pull it up to reset it, and then just pull through. Otherwise, I'd have like a huge bubble, and it's not pretty. So, yeah. I was gonna say like a very important thing. Not a very important thing, but you know, what something that would have been of use. Oh, I think it's just because it gets twisted, because as you go through this, the yarn obviously twists and stuff. So just kind of reset it by letting go and all that. I'm almost done though. And my circle's already getting a little bit lopsided. Big sad. Okay, now that my entire hole is finished, still have this hanging out, I'm just gonna go back in through here. Probably not in the exact same spot, but maybe like a little bit next to it on either side, or above or below it. Probably next to it is best bet. And go back through the middle again. So going through the middle, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if it lays on top or not. If it lays on top naturally without having to go back through the yarn, then go for it, be my guess. But like mine a little bit is going through it, as you can tell, and that's fine. Again, I'm using my scissors as a crutch, pulling it through. The last mallet that I did, it took me a while to actually pull it through, so this might actually take me a while as well. So just be gentle with it, keep pushing it from behind if that's helpful, and just keep petting it, I guess, as I'm doing. Give yourself breaks too, if need be. So I got half of it through. There we are. So as you can see, it almost fell off here. That's no big deal. I can just, well, I stopped myself first of all. So you want to keep the needle on too, because sometimes, most of the time it falls off right here. And then I just have to put it back on for the last part of it. Didn't go through all the way. It's not that big of a deal. We're like practically done with it. Like so. And then now I'm going to keep, pulling it through. So now it's nice and tight. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tie a small little knot so that it won't fall off. Keep the needle on. This guy's a little stubborn. Now you're applying pressure like so. Just put your finger here. I'm gonna put it up against me. And to make sure that the knot is gonna be as close to the sugar. I messed that up. No, because I was showing you guys. I think you get the gist. So that it's as close to the head as possible. Stick your finger in there and pull. Like so. You can see a little bulge. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle. Whichever direction your knot seems to be going, put the rest of the thread in that direction. Just take it through there so that it lays flat against the head. I mean, you're obviously still going to see it. And then up against where the hole comes out, you're going to cut it as close to it, but without cutting the rest of it. So that is the top of the mallet. And this is why you can let this hang. So this is also a really good stopping point if you need to leave or go somewhere. So now I have these two. They're about the same. It's just the bottom right now, as you can't really tell. So now this piece of string, we can throw this away. It's going to be of no use to us. So now we are going to take zip tim, pinch it, kind of roll it around to get it in all the little pieces. And essentially it's going to be the same technique as the top, just a little bit different because you have the stick in the way. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn it upside down. And again, I'm going to be going on the right of the string. Probably people will be, if you're right-handed, it would look something like this, going on the left of the string. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in toward the mallet and work out. So this is how you're working, or in toward the stick, working your way out. This is the technique for going around the stick. That's how it's going to be. Again, go weave in between, in the holes in between yarn strands, not through. The first one is not going to show because it's just tucking the string in, so you have no wrap. Then the rest of them you're wrapping around. Also, this bottom part is where I tend to get more of the puffiness, so I stick my pinky in there as I'm pulling it through. Oh, and that didn't really do much because it ended up puffing up anyway. Perfect. I just pulled it tight. And again, also being mindful of, oh yeah, so I have it gripped as I am pulling it through. Catches on my pinky, I let it go until the bloody end. You also want to be conscious of the space in between that you are doing this in, that you're not skipping a bunch of stuff, that you're keeping the knots relatively small. And so you're going to have this really nice pattern at the bottom, and it'll match the top. And again, if you are choosing to do the other method, maybe you're experimenting with both. If you wanted to do that, you would pull it through the hole here, and then, or I think it'd be the other way, and then just pull it out, whatever. Again, you'll be able to figure it out. And it's usually in this step where if you do have a string that is on the verge of popping off the bottom, that you would be able to secure it to the other strings that it is around. So that's what I did, is I made sure that I caught it in with one of my knots. And then it stayed. So Yeah, so these knots at the top and bottom are uber important. So as you can see, it's kind of rolling up here. That's where I just need to drop it and let it hang. And that's also a big factor into the puffiness. So yeah, so you're gonna end it the same way. Just hold it, create a final knot. Put your finger there, pull it through, make sure the needle stays on. So that you can stick it through middle there, and then cut it. There we are. So now you have your final product. So here is 2. So these are mallets. They're really nice and neat. Again, like I said, I enjoy making them, and it'll take practice. But other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments if that's an option. I will answer them, but I hope this helps my kids. I hope this helps future kids of my kids and people at other schools. But yeah, one last thing is you want to use old mallets with good sticks. One girl called this a pretzel because of the coloring. But you don't want anything that'll give you splinters or that is broken, that is held together by stick tape. That's not good. But yeah, so I think that's all. Have a nice evening, and I'm proud of you for attempting this. But yeah, happy holidays. Hope everybody has some nice quality time with the fam. I hope everyone's doing well, and see you later.